She stepped off that plane in Madrid, and something was different. You could feel it even through a screen. Alexandra Eala wasn't arriving as a hopeful anymore, as someone the tennis world was just starting to notice. She was arriving as someone who had already made them pay attention, and now she was walking straight into one of the most prestigious rooms in all of sports. Let that sink in for a second. The Laureus Sports Awards. A ceremony that has honored the greatest athletes on the planet, names that are practically mythology at this point, and Alexandra Eala was there, standing among them, representing not just herself but an entire nation that had been waiting for this moment for longer than most people realize. This wasn't a cameo appearance. This wasn't a courtesy invite. This was earned, and Madrid was about to find that out. Now, if you've been following Alex's journey for any length of time, you already know that her story doesn't fit into any neat little box. She didn't rise through the conventional path that most tennis players follow. There was no wealthy academy backing her from the age of 6, no family fortune funding her early development, no short road to where she is now. What there was, from the very beginning, was talent so raw and so undeniable that it basically forced the world to stop and take notice whether the world was ready or not. Rafael Nadal's academy in Mallorca took her in when she was still a teenager, and that alone told you something. Rafa's people don't make mistakes with their picks. They saw what was there and they built around it, and what came out the other side was a player who moves through a tennis court like she's solving a problem nobody else even understood was there. But here's what a lot of people don't talk about enough. Talent gets you through the door. It doesn't keep you there. What keeps you there is the work, the discipline, the ability to absorb loss and come back sharper, the mental toughness that doesn't show up in highlight reels but shows up in the moments when everything is on the line and you still make the right call. Alex has that. She has always had that. And the person who deserves a huge share of the credit for sharpening that side of her game is the man who traveled with her to Madrid, Coach Joan Bosch. If you don't know that name yet, write it down because you're going to be hearing it a lot. Joan Bosch is not the kind of coach who gets his name in the headlines very often. He operates in the background, in the practice sessions that start before most people wake up, in the long strategic conversations that happen away from cameras and crowds. But the fingerprints of his work are all over Alex's game. The way she reads her opponents before they've even finished their motion. The way she manages a full match, not just a single point or a single set, but the entire arc of a competitive encounter. That kind of intelligence on a tennis court is not accidental. That is coaching. That is hours and hours of someone sitting across from a young athlete and teaching them not just how to hit a ball but how to think about the game at a level most players never reach. Bosch arriving in Madrid alongside Alex wasn't just logistical. It was symbolic. It said that this is a partnership, that behind every performance you've seen from her this year, there is a system, a method, a vision that extends far beyond any single tournament. And speaking of tournaments, let's actually talk about what this past stretch has looked like for her, because the casual fan might not fully understand the scale of what she's been doing. The WTA circuit is not a forgiving environment. It is one of the most competitive landscapes in professional sports, filled with players who have dedicated their entire lives to being the best, who have coaches and analysts and support teams and decades of experience behind them. Alexandra Eala is navigating all of that, holding her own, and in a growing number of cases, outright winning in that environment. The rankings have been moving in one direction for her, and that direction is up. Every time it seems like there might be a ceiling, she finds a way through it. Every time an opponent thinks they've figured her out, she adjusts. That adaptability, that constant evolution, that's what separates the players who have a good year or two from the players who build actual careers. But there's also something worth mentioning about what it means for Filipino tennis specifically, because this isn't just an individual story. Alex carries something with her onto every court she steps on. She carries the weight of a country's sporting dreams, the hopes of millions of people who grew up not seeing themselves represented at the highest levels of this sport, who didn't have a face to look at and say that could be me, that is possible for someone like me. She is that face now. She is that proof. And she handles that responsibility with a kind of grace that honestly should be studied, because it would break some people. It would get into their heads and make them tight and nervous and afraid to fail in public. Instead, it seems to fuel her. Instead, it seems to add purpose to every single thing she does on and off the court. Madrid greeted her the way Madrid greets people who deserve to be there, with a kind of quiet elegance that the city is known for. The Laureus Sports Awards is not a flashy event in the way some ceremonies are. It doesn't rely on noise and spectacle to feel important. It feels important because of who is in the room, because of what those people have done, because of the standard it represents. Walking into that space is a statement. It tells you something about where a career is and where it is heading. And for Alex to be walking through those doors in 2026, at this point in her development, with still so much runway ahead of her, it's genuinely one of those things that makes you stop and think about how good this story could still get. Because here's the thing that keeps coming back when you really sit with her journey. We might not even be at the best part yet. Think about that. Everything you've watched, every match that gave you chills, every moment where she did something on court that made you rewind the clip just to see it again, that might all be prologue. The players who age well in this sport, who find a way to peak in their mid to late 20s and sustain it, they're usually the ones who learn the right lessons early, who built their game on intelligence and adaptability rather than just raw physical gifts that fade with time. Alex has been learning the right lessons. You can see it in how different she looks compared to even a couple years ago. More composed, more decisive, less reactive and more proactive. That is growth. That is the kind of growth that compounds, that gets more and more significant the deeper into a career you go. Coach Bosch knows this better than anyone. There's a reason someone with his experience and his eye for talent has invested so deeply in working with her. Coaches at that level have options. They can go work with established names, players who are already at the top of the rankings, players whose success would reflect immediately and obviously on their own reputation. Bosch chose to build something, chose to take a vision for a player and see it through across the long arc of development, and the fact that he was standing in Madrid with her, that he made that trip for this event, tells you everything about where he sees this going. He believes in what they're building together. And when someone with that kind of expertise and that kind of track record believes in something, it's worth paying attention. The narrative around Alex in the international tennis community has also been shifting in ways that are genuinely exciting to watch. Early in her career, there was always that qualifier attached to her name. The young Filipino prospect. The Nadal Academy product. The promising junior. Slowly, gradually, and then suddenly, those qualifiers started dropping away. She started being described in terms that didn't need a caveat, in terms that stood on their own. A serious contender. A player to watch in this draw. Someone the top seeds will not want to face. Those phrases mean something. They represent a change in how the sport's insiders are processing who she is, and once that perception shifts at that level, it tends to create its own momentum. Opponents come in with different mental preparation. The draw treats her differently. Opportunities that weren't available before start opening up. What happened in Madrid, the touchdown, the award ceremony, Coach Bosch by her side, the whole picture of it, is a chapter in a story that is still very much being written. Alex Eala is not a finished product. She is not a player whose arc you can already map out and predict. She is still becoming, still pushing the edges of what's possible, still surprising people, including probably herself on some days. And that is the most exciting kind of athlete to follow. Not the ones whose greatness is already confirmed and settled, but the ones where you can sense that the best moments are still ahead, where you tune in not just to see a performance but to witness something being built in real time. So what happens next? The Madrid trip wraps up, the awards night concludes, and then it's back to work, back to the grind of the tour, back to the practice courts where Bosch will be waiting with whatever the next lesson is, whatever the next adjustment needs to be made. Because that's what this is. It's not a moment to be savored and stayed in. It's fuel. It's confirmation that the direction is right and the work is worth it and the destination is real. Every great athlete needs those moments, needs the external validation not as the goal but as the compass check, as the reminder that yes, you are on the right path, keep going. Madrid was that for Alex. And if you've been watching from the beginning, if you've been one of the people who was talking about her before everyone else caught on, then this moment probably feels exactly like what it is. It feels like the beginning of something that hasn't even fully started yet.